Hi there, Oscar here. Let's talk about divorce. My divorce took 5 years and I went through 8 lawyers, so I got to see a few things. We shall start with the word itself. The word divorce has got to be one of the most oversimplified terms in the English language, and really any language for that matter. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition of the word divorce is as follows. A. To legally dissolve one's marriage with, to end a marriage with one's spouse by divorce. That's it. So that's definition A. Definition B. To dissolve the marriage contract between. Again, let me repeat. Definition B. To dissolve the marriage contract between. That's it. Nothing else follows. That's the end of it. That's the end of definition B for the word divorce. I don't understand it actually, but that's what it says. Let me just say that this definition is incredibly oversimplified and does no justice to this major life event. It is a significant event that must be considered from the legal, financial, social, emotional, and philosophical perspectives. There are countless moving pieces that can, and often do, turn into an ugly mess. They don't have to be, but they just do. So let's begin to take a deep dive. Have you noticed that when someone is in a bad marriage, the typical advice is just get a divorce, as casually as saying just get a coffee? After all, Merriam-Webster's dictionary is a simple one-line description, so how complicated can it be? This advice glosses over the extreme complexities of the process, which is tremendously complicated. It's astonishing how an infinitely challenging process is reduced to this single sentence: get a good lawyer and get a divorce. It's like saying, just remove the engine and transmission from your truck and install new ones. No big deal, just get a good hammer. But you have never even changed the tire. 50% of marriages end in divorce, and the rate is even higher for second marriages, with 70% ending in divorce. And 70% of all divorces are initiated by women. This life event is happening all around us, and we've all been touched by it. Even if you're not divorced, it's almost certain that someone in your inner circle has gone through it. It's nearly impossible to go through life without knowing someone who has not. And yet, this is a conversation that remains mostly out of bounds for most, and one that nobody wants to have. It's all around us, but it is a topic that's mostly avoided, even though it affects everybody. Even in 2024, is still considered a failure or a source of shame. For many, it becomes a skeleton in the closet, a topic never to be discussed again. When asked for advice, most people who've been through one tend to offer just one piece of advice: get a good lawyer. And that's about it. Very likely, most people do not want to offer meaningful support because it opens wounds that should not be open. I have a client whose therapist actually withdrew from their case because she herself had a narcissistic husband and a terrible divorce. The client's situation hit too close to home, triggering the therapist to the point that she could not help anymore. This event is an incredible, important milestone in anybody's life, one that is complicated to navigate, and one that deserves a full conversation. Certainly, one that goes above and beyond the advice of you will need a good lawyer. There are countless aspects to consider: the mental, emotional, psychological, financial, and legal process. The execution of it all is one heck of a labyrinth. Many people also talk of the importance of getting rid of those parts of ourselves that no longer serve us. And you know what? I agree. This concept alone can lead to a very big conversation. After all, we often end up in a messy situation because of one, two, or many mistakes. It certainly has so much to do with our childhood and the way we let the life story of others rule our lives. To the extent that we have let others people's narratives into our life, to the extent we screw up, it makes sense to spend time figuring out what went wrong and then making sure we fix it after the divorce. When we do this, we give ourselves a much better chance at a better future. I can say that during my divorce, I felt like I was trying to remove my car's engine and transmission and then put in new ones, only there were no resources anywhere to guide me through such a mess. Also, I am not a mechanic and have only changed a tire a couple of times in my life. Here's the thing. Nobody's around to give you step-by-step instructions on handling your divorce. It's like asking for the definition of the word universe and being told it is some type of space filled with a bunch of things, which is basically true, but there's room for improvement to expand on its definition. So here's my own definition. Divorce is the turning point where we realize we've been living a life that isn't true to who we really are. A life shaped by someone else's story, often that of friends and family. It's the moment we finally see that we've let the ideals, goals, and expectations of others dictate our path, and we've been moving through life without genuinely listening to our own voice. In other words, it is the moment we realized we need to unpack all the expectations others have placed on us and begin building a life that's truly our own. It's a monumental project. How does it even begin? Let me just read what I wrote in my book. Suppose you tell your non-athletic best friend, who's never hiked in his life, that you plan to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. He tells you, make sure you take nice t-shirts. And that's about it, nothing else. Take nice t-shirts. You don't know anything about climbing, so taking his advice, you buy some really nice t-shirts, the flight, the train tickets, to Mount Kilimanjaro with your nice teas. You're sure to reach the peak after all. You trust your friend. What could possibly go wrong? Once you get there, everyone notices you have some cash to spend. Nobody tells you how badly prepared you are, and teas are useless on your journey. Instead, they sell you all kinds of souvenirs, making you think that it is what you need in order to climb. Nobody stops to mention you need a minimum of 2 years of training plus a whole lot of really good gear. You start the adventure, and about 200 feet into your 4 mile journey, you're tired, out of breath, and out of several thousands of dollars already. You retreat to base camp and go home. On your way home, you begin to recollect all that bad advice that you were given, and you still cannot quite figure out what exactly went wrong. Your friends will never mislead you. What just happened? As you will see in the following pages, the concept of lawyer up advice you receive from friends and family is just as useless as being told to get a nice t-shirt. I had absolutely no idea what I was in for at the start of my journey, but I kept my nice t-shirts. Lots of work, time, money, and effort goes into finding, retaining, and working with a lawyer until the end of your case. Nobody around tells you about the intricacies of finding and dealing with one, which in itself seems to require an extensive set of skills that most of us simply don't have. Good advice at a time when you need it is really hard to come by. But here's the other side of divorce. It's the first day of your entirely new life. It's a brand new exploration of your true, authentic self. It is the moment when you start rejecting the stories and expectations of others that you once accepted as your truth, but that was never truly yours. You may have been diminished with your real self set aside in favor of someone else's ideals and goals. In reality, divorce marks the beginning of discovering your authentic self. Does this come at a price? Absolutely, it does. At an extraordinarily high price. There is no diminishing that. But the question is, and the question that you must ask is the following. Which price is higher? Staying in a hellish relationship where you can hardly breathe, or embarking on a journey to find a life that is authentic? This is in no way encouraging divorce, but to understand that it is impossible to have a good, healthy relationship with a narcissistic sociopath or psychopath. It cannot be done. It simply cannot be done. It is impossible. When married to someone with a personality disorder, the only options are lose your soul and stay in that relationship, if you want to call it relationship, or lose some stuff and recover your soul. We all need to decide what is more valuable, our souls or our stuff. Divorce right, and you will end up a much better person. On the other side, do it wrong, and you run the potential of ending up angry and resentful for the rest of your life. So you see, this is not just a thing you do and finish. It is the beginning of an entirely new life project, one that should not be taken lightly. The way I see it, men are at a tremendous mental and emotional disadvantage. Men are not very good at trusting others. In fact, we're really very bad. And we do not seek help. In fact, very few want to get help. And even when it is offered, we typically do not accept it. Why? Because we don't trust anyone and we don't trust anyone who can help us. Number two, men are typically not good at supporting other men. So when a man needs help, it is normal for other men to give dismissive advice, such as just get another girlfriend, just go to the gym, you just need to go out more, etc. Number three, we live in a political climate where men are considered evil. It is just hard for a man to get support. Number four, many men do not take divorce seriously enough and don't understand that it is a full-time job. Not wanting to make decisions and sometimes even asking friends and family to make decisions on their behalf. Again, divorce is like taking the engine and transmission out and putting new ones. It is a rather intense project. And when a man is divorcing a narcissist, the advice he received is almost always as useless as being told to buy a nice air freshener to fix a broken engine and transmission. All around, divorce is just much harder on men. It just is. More videos coming soon.